What's up, people? It's your favorite Desi uncle, your favorite brown boy, and the cutest immigrant in all of the Canadian land, Nav Walia, and welcome to another episode of Quarter Life Chit Chat. Let's address the elephant in the room, and when I say elephant, I'm not talking about myself. Just because I'm fat doesn't mean I'm as fat as an elephant. I am talking about why the hell was I gone for what? I think like 2 weeks, 3 weeks it's been since I haven't made an episode. Where the hell have I been? Well, first off, my mom had a pretty serious surgery happen, so a lot of my time was invested in hanging out with her, making sure she's okay. So most of my days, if not almost all of my weeks, went into that. On top of it, I was working very odd hours, so I literally never had the time to record. I couldn't get any free time, and any free time I had to be with my mom. On top of that, Victoria was having a crazy fucking heat wave. Okay, the temperature in Victoria for the past week was like mid to high 20s, like I think peaking on 28s. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was in the Sahara Desert. Okay, I felt like, like you read those books or like Aladdin. Okay, everybody's seen Aladdin. You know how in Aladdin there's always like some old Arabic dude who's just like on a camel in the middle of desert, just somehow just walking somewhere? That's how I felt. I felt like an old Arab dude who's just going through life in crazy heat. Okay, my living room temperature, because we have like one of those thermostats that tell the temperature of the room, it was peaking around 29 degrees for most of last week. And I just couldn't do it, man. Oh my god, the heat just sucked the energy out of me. And I know there's somebody listening to this who's like, 29 degrees is not so bad, Nev. You used to be in India. India is much hotter. Honestly, all I want to say is shut your mouth, okay? Just because India's hotter doesn't mean I can deal with the hotness or the heat, okay? I can't. Even in India, I was a kid who just remained in AC conditioned room 24/7. I'm not even joking. I think my family in India are the main contributors to global warming because of how much air conditioning we went through. Like, we're talking 24/7 air conditioning. We had air conditioning in our house on even when we weren't home, and houses in India are open roof. Okay, if in case you didn't know, unlike Canada, it's open roof. So the moment any like door opens or whatever, all that cold air, or in winter the warm air just straight up into the sky. So pretty sure my family contributed majorly to global warming. But those are the reasons why I hadn't made a podcast. And today, my parents went to Vancouver to, see my mom's surgeon, make sure everything is Gucci gang. And they left me behind. Which means that I'm home alone and I can do all the weird things a boy does when he's home alone, like eat junk food and record crazy videos on the internet, which is what I'm doing right now. It's Monday, 4 p.m., and I just ate 2 KFC burgers, and let me tell you, I'm so fucking full. I am so full, and I also hated it, because why the hell did my burgers taste bitter? I'm gonna say it's probably the oil. But have you ever wondered that why KFC, like chicken, is just absolutely horrendously trash? Like, it sucks. But KFC burgers kind of slap. Has anybody ever noticed that? If you haven't, trust me, go to KFC, get any burger ever, and just I'm telling you, their burgers slap, their chicken, chicken pieces, horrendous. Also, if you hear these weird noises in the background, I'm recording near my window, my street's fucking busy, don't be a diva about it. Let's just chillax and just try to, cut out the ambient noises. Back to this episode, last episode I made was on Reddit stories, and man, I'm so fucking sad. I had picked out such nice 4 Reddit stories that were hilarious. They were fucking hilarious, okay? But my mic started having issue, and literally half the file got corrupted. Like, you couldn't hear me. I sounded like a robot who's getting deep-throated by like an eggplant. Like an actual eggplant. I'm not making a sexual innuendo, you sick fucks, okay? It was crazy. And I was like, oh man. So I had to cut that episode short. Then obviously, my mom's surgery and work and all that jazz, didn't get time to record. So today, since I was home alone, I'm like, you know what? Recording time, boys. And here I am. And today's episode is a little different. I'll give you a little bit of sneak peek. Usually when I make an episode, I pick out a theme, a topic, what I want to make it on. I write up an outline of the intro. Any intro you ever see, it's written by me. I add a couple jokes in it. I add like the outline, like what's a segment A, segment B, C. Then I write up the outro and boom, boom, boom. Today, I'm not doing any of that shit. It's 4 p.m. I've eaten 2 KFC burgers. I'm borderline hitting food trauma, coma, and I'm really craving some cereal. Dude, I honestly sound like a fat frat guy. I'm not gonna lie, based on all my eating habits just now. But that's the play. And I was like, why don't I just hop on here? Why don't I just shoot the shit? Just talk about things. And just keep the vibe nonchalant. Just keep it mellow as hell. So first things first, the heat wave's over. That's the main important thing I want to talk about. Heat wave's over, which means for the past, I want to say about 4 or 5 days, I've been going out. And I've been getting a little bit of sun, which is why my hands are golden, crispy brown, like, fried chicken. I'm not joking. My hands are so brown. But my forearms are paler than a White Walker from Game of Thrones. If you ever seen Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. I personally haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I know what a White Walker is. So my forearms, I'm actually hella pale. By the way, I just want to throw that out there. Even though people think I'm brown as hell, and I got that gold, god-tier butterscotch skin, I'm brown as hell. Okay, I'm pale as hell. I'm actually very pale. Pretty sure that I'm adopted, and I'm not even Indian at all at this point. Every single day I take a shower and look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, dude, I'm hella pale. Like, maybe my mom, took a trip to, any of the Western countries and grabbed me from a garbage can. I don't look Indian, is my point. So, there's that. But, so lately, heat waves died, and man, oh man, have I been going back on my walks. I go to, sun is setting around 9:15 p.m., which I just want to say sounds fucking crazy. The sunset's happening at 9:20 p.m. What the fuck? That doesn't even make sense. And I know in, late July, it will probably be a bit later in the sense closer to even 10 p.m. So that's weird to me. But I've been going on walks at 7:30. It's cool. No UV index. I walk. I listen to my audiobooks. Lately, I've been listening a lot on the weekend. Then I go down to Squamor Lagoon. If you live in Victoria and you're listening as a Victorian kid, you know what I'm talking about. I go to the lagoon. I watch the sunset. And I just enjoy me being in my summer hot girl era, I'm on that hot girl shit. I'm on that summer hot girl shit, dude. And it's been a vibe. It's been very, very nice. And I'm just glad I'm not getting fucking cooked in my own living room from the heat, okay? And it's been bliss. And on top of that, as usual, as you know, that I'm a fucking nerd and I've been reading books and that's been going bliss. P.S., as I promised, another book review episode is in the future. And also, as I promised, another Reddit episode is also in the future. So stay tuned for that. And speaking of episodes, the other thing that I kind of want to talk about is this podcast itself. As my OG day one listeners may know, I made this podcast in 2024 around March. And I made this podcast because I got rejected from med school. I applied to UBC. They threw my ass out. They were like, get out of here, kid. You think you can be a doctor? Fucking dummy. And I was inspired. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to turn the story of me getting an L into something that's more of a W. And I made this podcast. When I made this podcast, now I'd be lying if I didn't have a vision for this podcast. I'd be lying if I didn't have some glorified idea of what this podcast was going to turn into. Okay? Because I did. I honestly thought, before I made this podcast, I thought that the podcast I make is going to be the next Call Her Daddy of podcasts, okay? I thought it's going to be the next Joe Rogan podcast. Not because I'm going to be saying crazy or stupid shit like Joe Rogan, nor did I think I was going to talk about such sexual femininity like Call Her Daddy, but I just felt like I had that vibe. I don't know. I thought that this podcast is going to make me a billionaire. And I was going to become best friends with all the billionaires. Mostly the Indian billionaires, the Ambanis, because shout out Brown Gang. But honestly, it hasn't happened. I've been making this podcast for a year. and, obviously there's been times where I've taken a couple weeks off. There's been times where I've made more episodes in 1 week and whatever. But it's crazy that, I've been making this podcast and I'm not a billionaire from it. It's crazy to me that I was like, in my wildest dream, this podcast is going to be the next Call Her Daddy. And if anything, this podcast is low-key turning into Call for Help. Because I was listening to my past couple episodes, and I'm not going to lie, I think around episode, like the mid-20s or late 20s, holy shit, it became hella dry. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I was listening to it, I'm like, what is wrong with me? I need Jesus. Okay, there needs to be some entertainment spice. Now, another reason... So, because of it, my podcast, obviously in the past year, hasn't grown as much as I thought, obviously, jokes aside. But it hasn't grown to a degree in the sense that I'm also happy with it. Obviously, when I started early on, I was promoting it like a crazy person. I was like spamming it to all my people, social media, But that burned me out, and I didn't want to do promotion like that. Now I just put it up and I just share it. Whoever listens. But the thing with that is your audience size, because you're not constantly promoting, has reduced, right? And with reduced audience, you get less reactions, less influence from the outside into it. It's kind of like imagine if you did like a assignment, but you got no feedback for it. Nobody was going to look it over. You don't even know if somebody saw your assignment. You just kind of feel like, what am I even doing it? Like you need a little bit of a reward system activation for you to keep going in something. And that's one of the reasons why for the past couple months, I've been a little bit less motivated with the podcast, truth be told. I make it. I don't really check the stats. I know enough for the stats that in the sense like I'm like, okay, like it's very stable, but it's not where I want to be. And I have very, a handful of good listeners that have been constantly following it. But unfortunately, it's not been growing, which has caused me to obviously feel a little unmotivated to make this podcast. But you know what? Even though my podcast hasn't been growing that much, I will say it has been a lot of fun. And it is fun to just sit here like a fucking YouTuber and, get in front of camera and be like, what's up, gang? Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's entertaining as hell. At least it keeps me entertained. And it is episodes, there's been episodes that I have made because, you get into this pattern of, I gotta make an episode for the week. So you make something, but it's not a fully fleshed out idea. I'm usually like in my own head thinking of the next joke to say because it is literally just me, my fat face, and this fucking camera. Not a lot of crazy shit is else going on. I don't have a lot of energy to like, chat off of or feed off of and bounce off of and all that jazz. I don't. It's just me and this camera and my phone. So usually there's been a couple episodes that I've made where I'm in my head a lot and the process of making it felt very dull. It felt like I'm not really making something exciting and I'm not in tuned. The episodes that I have had a blast making are obviously like episodes like Reddit stories where I am out of my head and I'm not worried about, being in the moment with the episode and thinking, is this getting recorded good? Is this coming out okay? Is this coming out funny or entertaining or whatever? And the episodes obviously I made with my friends back in the day. Now, some of you might be wondering, damn, dude, why do you not make episodes with your friends more? I don't have a lot of friends anymore. That's just a sad truth. I don't even mean to laugh at it, but even if that's the case, I'm laughing at my own pain. A lot of things have happened. Friend circles have fallen apart. Not doing that. But secondly, I lose a lot of creative control when I'm collab with people. But you know what? I have been thinking about it, and there's a couple of podcasts that I listen to that I think might be very into if we collaborated. So I'm reaching out to a couple more podcasts again and hoping I can get some collabs going, Wouldn't that be fucking cool? I'm just saying. But, I don't want to bash on it too much. You know, the episodes that I really, really, really do enjoy making, that are like, you know, they feel like they come easy to you, or they just feel relaxing to make, are not episodes that I usually made with people or collaborated. They are more episodes like this episode itself. You know, right now it's just me looking at the camera, chatting my shit, doing my thing, you know, like a bad bitch that I am. Fuck. That was hella cringe. I am so sorry. I actually snapped. And maybe the mic picked up on it. Maybe it didn't. But wow, that was cringe. But the episodes that I do enjoy making are these. You know, the episodes where I don't necessarily have an outline per se. The episodes where I don't have everything fleshed out. It's just me and my thoughts, and I'm just chatting my shit. And I don't know how entertaining these episodes are. So, to my listeners that are still listening, toss me an idea, okay? Like, let me know if episodes like this, like nonchalant, not very, you know, well fleshed out episodes are better or worse. You let me know. If this is a vibe, I would rather just keep doing this shit. Another idea I had for an episode, I'm in my summer hot girl shit. You know, I'm on the hot girl era. I was like, why not? You know, when I go on my walks, I have crazy fucking ideas. Like, I just be thinking crazy imagination things. Like, I'm like a 4-year-old on meth when I'm on my walk. My ideas, imagination is wild. So I was like, why don't I make like episodes that are just something casual I record out and about in the world. Like I am Indiana Jones, just on an adventure. And the adventure being go on a walk so I can be less fat, but also doing a side mission of recording a podcast. I don't know, might be a vibe. Also, I had an idea, you know, I'm always thinking what do I include in my podcast? Like I said, you know, I want the podcast to be something that was always focused on people 18 to under 30, you know, Gen Z and millennials. And I always focus on the things that Gen Z and millennials are dealing with, facing with, want to talk about, all that jazz. One of them is TV. Let's be real. Gen Z and millennials, we're crack addicts about TV. Okay, we binge dog shit shows, we hate watch, and we consume way too many movies. So, future episodes. I'm watching Love Island. I have a lot of strong opinions. And I think that me making an episode going on a rant about reality fucking TV or other shows I'm watching will be hella sick. Because kind of like books, you know, I'm really passionate about books that I read. It's fun to talk about. TV's kind of the same. I tell my friends all the time, watch this, watch that, watch those, watch these. And I'm like, why don't I also talk about that on my podcast? It'd be fun, easy episode to make. I wouldn't be so much in my head thinking of like trying to forcefully make it entertaining. And those that resonate with it will be like, holy shit, now it's talking about Ginny and Georgia. Okay, let's tune into this. I don't know. But maybe that's the vibe. And yeah, that's what's been on my mind. And I think the 2 KFC burgers I've eaten are beginning to hit me because, on God, I think I'm about to pass out. I'm pretty sure the food coma is hitting me so hard right now, I want to take a nap. You know what I mean? I want to take a nap like how like a pregnant elephant takes a nap. So I'm going to cut this here. I hope that you liked this nonchalant, just chit-chat episode vibe. I enjoyed making this. And it's always nice to come back to the podcast after I take a week or two off. Even though initially I feel like, oh, I'm so lazy. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make the podcast. What's the point? But then I hop on, you know, in front of camera, and my inner crazy person that wants to have attention and get in front of camera and do weird shit starts coming out. And this is fun. I like being in front of camera. So maybe I got another career, you know, kind of like Kim K. Who knows? Maybe I too, like Kim Kardashian, make a crazy tape, and next thing you know, I am a celebrity. Who knows? Crazy content coming soon. And I just want to say, I know in the previous episode, I said I was going to make an OnlyFans. You know, again, no sexual content, because I don't even know what sex is. I'm 26. I have no clue what sex is. I still remember that I said that I'm going to make a fucking OnlyFans. And I really think my goal as of right now, before 2025 ends, is to make an OnlyFans and upload a video that is completely satire and just see what happens. Who knows, you know? So I will definitely keep you guys entertained on my future OnlyFans Chronicles. Maybe that's what I'll call that. But regardless, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I appreciate all you. And here's to another fun episode. And next week, again, I'll be back with something a bit more fleshed out, but something with a lot less outline. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and do me a favor, share it to your friends, tell your people about it, tell your grandparents about it, tell your parents about it. I don't know. Just tell somebody, okay? I'll see y'all next week. Hasta la vista, folks. Bye-bye!